a friend of mine committed suicide. And the reason that it almost took me out of the running for what I wanted to do ministry-wise is because I was with that woman. She was a lady, a physical therapist. She was a lesbian, and she was a physical therapist of mine back in the day whenever I got injured. And basically, I invited her to church. It was World Outreach. She decided to come. She was heartbroken because she just broke up with her lover, her partner, and she came to church. She was happy. I knew she was sad. She was really accepting a lot of love. She had a good experience at the church that night. I walked her to her car. It was kind of cold, and I remember walking to her car to say goodbye, and I had the thought come to me, she's going to kill herself. Really? And it was such a crazy thought. I was like, what? That's just so weird. It was so random. I thought it was just my head. Yeah. And then she looked happy, you know, and like she had a good night. And so I was like, no big deal, you know. And then that night she committed suicide. Like I may have been the last person to see her. And I just look at it like God really opened this opportunity for me to get her to the church. And maybe she made a decision for Christ. I don't know, you know, maybe my job was done. But I'll tell you, that night it didn't feel like it, because I felt like, why would the Lord share that thought to me? Because at the time I thought it was my own thoughts, but I believe it was the Holy Spirit now.
For sure.
And I don't believe that the Holy Spirit was sharing that to me if there wasn't with me, if there was no way for me to affect a change. Yeah. And so it really tore me up for a while. And thankfully, you know, I really stuck close to the Lord in that time and shared my heart. And I feel like he just, you know, helped me get around to that, you know. But that's a tough, you know, I say that pretty freely now because I've worked through it, but it was really tough.
I'm sorry that happened, man.
Yeah, dude, just let it be incentive to you and all the listeners and to myself let it serve as a reminder. Whenever you feel the prompting of the Lord, like, just obey. And, you know, I didn't even realize that's what it was, but if it has to do with suicide, then just act on it anyway. Because I'll tell you, one of the reasons I also didn't say anything to her was when I saw her happy, I was like, well, if she's happy and she wasn't thinking about suicide, then now I'm going to put that thought in her head. But if you do any any research on this subject, people say it doesn't, you know, like it.
Right.
If you ask someone because you care about them, hey, are you having suicidal thoughts? And maybe they're not, and you ask them, it's only gonna help them. It's not going to hurt. Right. I'm not articulating that well, but just that was a real fear of mine in that moment. So don't ever let that stop you.